Why did the Nigerian boy hate the Indian's words, and how did it change his life? He had just finished his apprenticeship, fresh, flashy, and full of swagger. A true Nigerian big boy with his whole life ahead of him. The moment his apprenticeship settlement hit his account, he felt invisible. The world was his. He was the king of parties, champagne showers, designer threads, friends chanting his name like a title. Igwe of electronics, Odogu. He wore the praise like a crown, blind to the cracks forming beneath his feet. Then, the money ran out. The laughter faded. The friends scattered. And for the first time, he noticed the quiet Indian man, low-key, polite, build a thriving business just next door. At first, it made no sense. How? Then, it burned. Why him? Then came the whispers. He must be using juju. But one day, the Indian man looked him in the eye. Not with anger, not with judgment, but with something deeper. And he spoke strange words, so simple. They cut straight to his soul. But it wasn't. Because these words didn't just haunt him. They changed everything. What did the Indian man say? What were they? Sit back and enjoy this powerful tale of pride, envy, and the unexpected wisdom that transformed a Nigerian big boy's business and his life forever. I walked into my shop like a king. The air conditioning was already on, humming soft, and everywhere was cool. My white abada brushed against the black tiles as I stepped in, shoulders squared, chin high. In my right hand was a wad of fresh minty naira notes. I flung them in the air just because I could. Let it rain, I drawled, closing my eyes briefly as I nodded to the hum of Flavor's song. It was a smooth blend of high life guitar and Igbo pride. Uche, my younger cousin and part-time assistant, cut some bills. Oga Chooks, big boy. Two market boys called from the streets, laughing and slapping each other's backs. Odogu Electronics. Another one shouted. I nodded at them like royalty, adjusting the gold chain on my neck. Don't spoil me, please. I stepped in further and watched as the TV displayed some promo videos. Shiny new speakers lined the shelves. I opened the fridge that wasn't plugged in yet and imagined it full of cold drinks for VIP guests. Then I turned to Uche. We need another standing fan by the door. And get me those LED strip lights. The green ones. The shop has to pop. Day or night. Yes, bro. Uche answered, already typing on his phone. Very good. I murmured as I sat back in the Italian leather chair behind the counter and stretched my legs. I could see the whole street from here. People passed, peered in, some even stepped inside, looked around, then left without buying anything. One woman came in, asked for the full price of a wall fan. I gave her a small discount. She said, I'll come back. Another man asked about a plasma TV. He tested the remote twice and admired the picture quality. Said he'd go withdraw some money, but he didn't return. By the third day, I stood at the window, my arms folded. I was getting frustrated. I had not sold that well, and now the shop was empty with only me, Uche, and the sound of flavor on loop. It's just the economy, I told myself. Things are hard everywhere. But even that felt like a weak excuse, because across the road, the Indian man's shop that was without music never seemed empty. I told myself again, it's just a matter of time. They will come. On the 5th day, only 4 people had come to price anything. I didn't tell anyone, not even Mama. That evening, I stepped outside to clear my head. The sun was soft and almost gone. I saw Anil's sister in solar kameez, an orange top with green pants and a black scarf covering her long hair, lighting a stick of incense in front of their shop. She had brought out a small stool and placed what looked like coins or fruits on a tree. Just then, 2 women walked past me in blouse and wrapper. I heard something that made my blood boil. I prefer their juju to chooks. A woman laughed. Juju? What? I cursed under my breath, anger bubbling in me. Despite the cold air beating my face, I was hot inside. Across the street, the incense crawled in the fading light, and on that girl's arm, below the ends of the arm of the top, I noticed a scar that looked like a mark. What kind of business was this, really? Too many days passed. I came in every morning like a man walking into destiny. But destiny didn't get the memo. The AC stayed on, the music kept playing, and my abada remained clean. But my gadgets remained unsold. I dusted them some mornings just to feel like something was moving, or that I owned something. Each time someone entered, my heart jumped in hope. But they will always say, I'll come back. I started to hate that phrase, but I didn't complain. I couldn't. Me, big chooks, ask for help? Never. I'd rather choke on my pride than show humility in public. Even when I started noticing my account balance has started hitting the ground, I told myself, you're planting, chooks. Harvest will come soon. Then one morning, around 9, I heard a familiar cough outside. My uncle, Chief Udena, stepped in Isiagu shirts, a lion head pattern top, and plain trousers. His usual red cap on his head, with his black walking stick tapping the tiled floor. Ụtụtụ ọma, nna, he said, settling into the guest chair like he owned the place. How's business? I smiled. It's moving, sir. He cleared his throat again, and I sensed he wanted something. Uche, I called, dipping my hand into my abada pocket. Yes, sir. Come and serve Uncle. Take drinks from the fridge and go and buy snacks from Mommy Vivian, I commanded, handing him a wad of cash. It was more than enough, and I expected Uche to bring my change. After Uche left, Uncle leaned in. Omuman na go see ego. Not noise. True money doesn't shout, my son. I blinked, surprised. What do you mean? I stammered, confused. I just wanted to make you feel at home. You've come to visit your nephew. He chuckled and shook his head. Thank you, my son. I know that already. But you are not doing well. Before I could reply, he stood too hastily for someone using a walking stick, and I quickly moved to assist him. He allowed me. He tapped his stick on the floor twice. I have to get home before my wife returns from the market. Farewell. His voice followed me all day, like a drum beat I couldn't unhear. That same morning, around sunrise, I saw something strange through the glass. I was sipping my cold malt, and my eyes caught Anvil, kneeling. He was barefoot, and his father was seated in a chair. And Anil, he was washing the man's feet with a bowl of water and muttering something under his breath. His sister lit incense again, just like the other evening. I blinked. I actually laughed to myself. Who worships their papa before business? I shook my head and went back in. Some cultures are just extra. But by noon, I realized why Anil was doing what he did. Uche came in, scrolling his phone, looking excited. Did you hear? He said, sliding in. The Shamas just opened a second branch in Oka. I paused. Second branch? How? Anil Shama ran the family business now, while his old man kicked back in retirement. 2 generations, 1 shop. My mind raced as I did the maths. Anil came into the market the same year I started my apprenticeship under Oga Namdi. We were boys then. He had acne and oversized shirts. So how? How was he miles ahead? I sighed and tried not to let it bother me. But it did. The more I stared at the shop across the street, the more questions were planted in my head. Uche, I'm going home. I don't think you are ready to leave, I said as I packed my bag. When he didn't answer, I looked out and found him on a phone call. I had seen him on long phone calls more frequently now, and I wondered who he was talking to. Maybe he had a girlfriend, or was he into betting? I did too, when I was his age. It was what kept us alive. That evening, as I was walking past the tailor shop near the junction, I heard 2 boys talking near the phone cart stand. Guess what? Namdi buys goods at the Indian man's store now. What? Which Namdi? Oga Namdi, Chuk's former boss. I saw him myself. He even came out with 2 cartons. I stopped walking. My hands clenched at my sides. My own boss buying from my rival? No, it couldn't be. But a part of me already knew it was true. Then it hit me. That strange smell wasn't just incense. It was trouble. The next morning, I didn't wear my usual abada. I wore jeans and a white shirt with the sleeves folded and a pair of aboki sandals that were made from leather and open-toed. I got to the shop before Uche, opened the door myself and tidied up the place. Across the road, Anil and his people were already busy. The girl was sweeping the front of the store. His father sat outside, reading a book. I rubbed my jaw. My teeth gritted. Something I didn't understand was going on. Because how on earth could my boss go get something from Anil? The same thing he was selling too. And if they really ran out of goods, he could have called his other big friends in the business, not to go to Anil. He's cheating, I concluded. Maybe that incense, that strange mark, it's all fake magic. That evening, I visited the pepper soup joint and made sure I sat close to the biggest gossips, the human radio stations who usually spread news like wildfire. You haven't heard? I said, sipping cold beer. Anil sleeps in the shop with one big snake. They say it's his god. The boy beside me choked on his drink. For real? I nodded slowly, twitching my mouth in disgust. Can you imagine? But I can't talk too much before you people say it's because I'm jealous. All I know is that his magic is not ordinary. I quickly drowned my goat meat pepper soup with white rice and left. By the next day, my shop was packed. People rushed in the shop to escape a fire. They whispered about Anil while buying several items. It was so wild. I sold 2 TVs, 4 fans, and even some dusty standing irons I had forgotten were in the back. For 2 days straight, I smiled like a man in love. Business was booming, and my plan was working. Until it didn't. By the 3rd day, people slowed down, then stopped coming altogether. One customer entered and said, "You can gossip, eh?" Before walking out. I stood still. "Excuse me?" I asked, even though I heard him clearly. By afternoon, no one came, not even to ask for a price. Uche walked in late, his eyes on his phone as usual. I made a mental note not to seize his phone or ask him to stay back at home with his phone if he wasn't ready to work. "Oga, what happened?" he asked, looking around. By sunset, Mama Ifoma came, one of the market elders. She sold lace fabrics under the Catholic Church and wore big glasses and a head tie that looked pretty. "Your mouth is killing your market, Chukwudi." I blinked. What is wrong with people? They come into my shop and say whatever they want to. I thought angrily. Mama, shh, she said in a harsh tone, waving her index finger. You are not behaving like a true Nwa Onitsha. We don't grow by dragging others down. You've forgotten your roots. Mama, what did I do again? I'm always the one doing it wrong. I boomed. Choose this, choose that. She shook her head and left. The anger bubbling in me had reached half its peak. I wanted to scream, ready to smash some things. If customers wanted the best deals, I'd give it to them. Maybe then the gossip would stop. The next morning, I painted a sign on the window. Promo! Buy one, get one free. Today only. A few people came and bought Bluetooth speakers, power banks, and some minor things. I handed them double, trying to smile through my losses. By evening, my shelf was half empty, and my profits were deep in the gutter. When I scribbled the day's sales in my ledger, my hands trembled. Maybe what I did was foolish, I muttered to myself. A delivery was supposed to arrive in the evening, but it arrived late. Uche and I loaded them in, and as I checked each carton, I found the book in one of them. I didn't remember ordering any notebook. I took it and opened it. Then my stomach sank. It was filled with names of local traders with figures beside them. Figures that didn't make sense. My name was there too. It was written twice. I sat on the floor, ignoring Uche's curious eyes. I'd been scammed by who? A supplier? A transporter? Someone I knew? I couldn't think straight. I didn't sleep that night. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I arrived the next morning and saw something at the entrance of my shop. It was a red box, wrapped in gold paper and tied with red thread. My heart skipped for the 100th time this week. Was this juju? A curse? I stepped back slowly and raised my hands like I was staring at a bomb and giving the I come in peace sign. Oga, I heard Uche from behind. What? Oga, I heard Uche say from behind. What's that? I didn't answer. My eyes were still fixed on the red box. The morning sun glistened off the gold wrapping like it was mocking me. Enough is enough! I yelled and took a step back. I rushed across the street, not minding whoever was watching. I won't sit back and go crazy. Anil looked up just as I barged in. You think I'm stupid? I barked. What nonsense! You dropped this in front of my shop? What is it? Juju? You people want to ruin me finally, Abi? Everyone froze. His sister paused halfway through setting up a shelf. And Neil's father raised his head from his book, frowning slightly. Customers turned and stared like it was a Nollywood scene. And Neil walked to the counter and picked up a similar box and brought it forward. He was in a kurta and pajama, long shirts and loose trousers. I was going to deliver it myself, he said, his accent evident. It's a gift for you. It's Diwali. Diwali what? I shouted, irritated. Please don't insult my intelligence. He untied the red thread and opened the box. What? It was sweet in circle, triangle, and square shapes. There was something wrapped in banana leaf too. We give our neighbors gifts, Anil said quietly. You don't need to believe what you believe. We bless our neighbors too. Business is not war. I opened my mouth to give a reply, but I couldn't say a word. Embarrassed. Then his father, Ramesh, in the same kurta and pajama, but fancier with shiny embroidery, stood and walked toward me with that same quiet vibe, limping. You are welcome to have lunch with us, he said. Come, you may learn something. I wanted to refute, but pride burned in my throat. Then I nodded, avoiding their eyes. Their home was behind the shop, and it was clean and modest. The walls were not painted. There were marigolds in clay pots. We entered, and I removed my shoes at the door when I saw them all barefoot. A slow tabla song hummed from a speaker that looked like it would fall anytime soon. There were no chairs, just the mat, and the sat cross-legged like it was the most normal thing. I hesitated, not sure of what to do. Anil patted the space beside him. You don't have to fold your legs perfectly. Just sit comfortably. I nodded. This is the main dish. Ramesh pointed at vegetables. It's called vegetable and lentil stew, which we call dal sabzi. He smiled. I know what questions you want to ask. I have a farm where I grow some of our dishes. My mouth formed an "oh" as I nodded. He pointed to the other plate. We made some masala yam today. Your people love yam, so we spiced it with garam masala and turmeric. He carried another plate. Salad with cucumber and tomatoes. The food was served with their hands, no spoons. Anil motioned for me to eat. Don't be shy. I obeyed and went for the yam first. The food was strange, but full of flavor. I kept quiet and took everything in. In the middle of the meal, Ramesh looked at me. My son tells me you are wasting money to impress ghosts. My hands froze in the bowl. What? I didn't mean it literally. Ramesh continued, chuckling to himself. But these unnecessary showings, big chains, music, son, they come and go. You think we don't know what you say about us? Anil took over. The snake, the incense, the rumors you spread. It's okay. Even now, we forgive. But you need to ask yourself, what kind of man becomes smaller by helping another girl. I dropped the food. Wait, what do you mean? Help? And Neil looked at his father, then back to me. I sent some customers your way. People who needed electronics in bulk that I couldn't fulfill. I told them, got the chooks, but they refused. They said your prices were too high and your pride stings worse. Me turn customers away? I asked, my mind already racing with thoughts. My throat tightened as I remembered the customer with the school project, the one who said she'd come back. I dismissed her fast because she didn't look serious. I also remembered the church youth group who said they wanted to partner for their sound system. I said I didn't do small man work. I was the reason they didn't come. I was complaining of low sales, and I still rejected those who came on referral. And Neil passed me a jug of water. Then Ramesh said, without looking at me, I know what it feels like to feel the walls closing in. I glanced at him. My first year in Port Harcourt, he continued. No one bought from me. They called me a foreigner. Some even said I came with demons. He chuckled. I cried, son, and it felt worse because I was unable to provide for my children. But I stayed because business is not about ego or pride. It's about trust. Do your customers trust you? Do you trust them? Before I could speak, Ramesh stood. He went to pick something from a nearby stool, his limbs more pronounced. You know, he said softly, I didn't always walk like this. He handed me a framed photo, a black and white image. He was younger, in uniform, surrounded by smoke. India sent peacemakers to Congo. On our way home, we were ambushed. I would have died in the mud, if not for a boy from Port Harcourt. He hid me and fed me. He looked at me now, like he was seeing beyond me. Not every Port Harcourt boy forgets how to share, he said. And before I could ask who that boy was, the lights flickered. It certainly wasn't from power failure. A knock sounded at the front door, and there were 3 identical knocks, like it was a signature thing. I looked at my host, expecting one of them to answer the door. And Neil's sister froze, and Neil stood, tense. Ramesh's eyes darkened as he whispered, so soon. 3 days later, I returned home early after another sale-less day at the shop. The compound was too quiet, not even the usual sound of someone pounding yam or children playing. I entered the house and saw Mama in the parlor, folding her best wrappers into a black nylon bag. I frowned. Mama, what are you doing? She didn't answer, just continued folding with trembling hands. Bright-colored wrappers from weddings, naming ceremonies, even from my shop opening ceremony. I remember the day she wore the green one, the one with silver that looked like letter L merged together, to my primary school graduation. I felt so proud. Mama, she looked up and I noticed her eyes were watery. I'm selling them. I blinked and closed the door properly before I stepped in further. What? For your shop rent, she said softly. You didn't ask, but I know. What a child sees while on foot is not up to what an elder sees while sitting. Chukudi, my son, market is not always easy. You must be strong. I swallowed hard. I hadn't told her about the shop's condition. So, how did she know? She stood and walked to me, the bangles on her wrist jingling together. I saw some wrappers today. It can help with your shop rent. I felt like a fool. My mother was strong, like my late father, and working, trying to support me when I was supposed to be the one supporting her. I didn't want you to do that, Mama, I said in shame. She shook her head. We are family, Chukudi, and family help each other. When you grow, I grow. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I held them back. I just stood there, watching her pack the fabrics she wore for my father's title ceremony before he passed away. That same night, after retiring to bed, I scrolled through my phone and a notification came in. At Nkechi posted a new video. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. It was her, my ex, the one who left when I couldn't afford to take her on dates 5 years ago. She stood in front of the boutique mirror, pouting and laughing. Big boy is now broke boy, she said, followed by fake crying. My pictures were displayed on the screen as she continued. Nigerians, help him before he becomes more broke. Patronize him. I laughed bitterly. I remembered how I'd once dreamed of opening 2 stores, of marrying her and giving her 1 store to manage. How foolish. I knew she was mocking me indirectly, and it hurt. I threw my phone on the bed and pressed my palms over my eyes, trying to relieve myself of the eyeache I had. I was tired. The next morning, I woke up with a new goal. Change my approach. I took off the agbada, no chains, no slippers with my initials on the sole, just plain trousers Mama had sewn for me last Christmas. Neat shirts like I wore the other day. I pulled the big chairs away and didn't play music. I even greeted the locals who passed, and they stared at me suspiciously. It's progress, I mumbled, nodding my head. The first day passed. The second day came and passed. Until the 5th day, there were no changes. I sighed as I packed my chairs and speakers back. Uche had been on leave since yesterday. His father was ill and he needed to care for him when his mother went to the market. My phone vibrated as I prepared to leave. At first, I thought it was a customer, maybe an order. Instead, it was an anonymous number with a strange message in the form of a voice note. My brows furrowed as I pressed the play button. Uche's voice came up. "He won't suspect a thing," he said, laughing. "Oga Anil would like this info. If we do it clean, we run chooks out. Then the shop's ours." I sat for 10 minutes, the phone still in my hand. Whose shop? Which Anil? Uche? Was he playing both sides? Had Anil bought him off? Or was he trying to frame both of them? I didn't know. All I knew was that the air in my lungs felt insufficient and I couldn't breathe well. Memories of Uche on calls, leaving early on some days, me eating in Anil's house, flooded my eyes. I, Chukwudi, the so-called big boy, was surrounded by enemies. What are your thoughts on this story? And let us know where you are watching from in the comments. Want more jaw-dropping tales? Grab my free ebook, The Iron Mother's Shocking Choice, Love or Legacy, in my bio. Turn on notifications for part 2 of this week's story. You don't want to miss it.